Hey, how's it going guys? My name is Ray, and over these next few weeks I'm going to be showing you a few soup recipes that will get your taste bud dancing. And to start off this simple soup recipe series, today I'm going to be showing you a traditional Chinese style corn soup, which I believe they call Eggdrop soup. That's good.
We're gonna start by preparing our vegetables. I'm gonna be using 2 corns for this recipe. This is one of the centerpieces of the recipe, so finding a really good sweet corn will do you a favor here. You might have seen me use this method before if you've been watching this channel for a while. I think it's really convenient way to get the corn kernels without the mass, and this amount of kernel is pretty much what you get from 2 large corns. Next we'll need about 5 shallots and 3 cloves of garlic. We're gonna mince everything finely, but I'm just gonna start by slicing it thinly first, so it will be easier for us to mince everything together later. We can just cross chop everything like I'm gonna show you now. And here we have about 250 grams of chicken. I'm using chicken fillet today, or some of you might know it as chicken tenders. But this is pretty much the breast piece, so you can use just chicken breast to substitute this piece. They're pretty much the same cut. And here I also have some shiitake mushrooms. These ones are dried shiitake mushrooms that I have rehydrated in some hot water. All I'm gonna do is take off the stem and cut the cobs into thin slices like so. How small you wanna cut the mushrooms is really up to you. If you don't like big chunks of mushrooms like this, you can always dice them up into small cubes. So now we're pretty much ready to start cooking. Heat up a pan over medium-high heat. Add in about 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil, followed by 2 tablespoons of sesame oil. Give it a good swirl. And when the oil is hot enough, you can start adding in the chicken and the mushrooms, along with the shallots and garlic, of course. And if a little bit of corn get into the pan, it doesn't really matter. This dish is really forgiving in terms of flavors. But if you're really fussy about that, you can always put them in a separate bowl. So what we're doing now is pretty much try to muddle in all the flavors from the oil and the ingredients that we have put in first. This will build the base of the soup. If you can get the chicken to be a bit brown, that's even better. But if you don't, that's not the end of the world. And at this stage, we're just gonna season the chicken with some salt and pepper first. Then after you mix them in properly, you can go ahead and add in the rest of the corn. Give it a good mix, and when the corn starts to cook, you can add in some water. If you have chicken stock, that's even better, but try to use unseasoned chicken stock. It's always better to make the chicken stock at home because you don't want unwanted herbs to get into your Chinese food cooking like this. But if you want a generic chicken stock recipe, I have it here on my channel. That one is for Western cooking, but you can simply replace the aromatics with some ginger, garlic, spring onion, shallots, and anything that goes well with those flavors. I'm gonna put the link to that video here in case you want to check it out. But anyhow, let's go back to our recipe on hand. So what I just did there is pretty much to add some water, just enough to submerge all the ingredients. Bring it up to the boil. Add in half a ladle of soy sauce. Then once it started boiling, you can start skimming off the impurities. This will make sure you have a clearer soup. Then when you're happy with the clarity of the broth, you can go ahead and add in a mixture of cornstarch and water. Here I'm starting with 3 tablespoons of cornstarch with just enough water to mix the cornstarch in. And at that point, if you're still not happy with the consistency of the soup, you can always add more cornstarch later. And this is the part where the Eggdrop part of the soup is coming in. So here I have beaten 2 eggs, and all we're gonna do is just to drizzle in with the help of the fork, or even better, chopstick. That's how they do it traditionally. And just try to swirl in the beaten egg into the soup. And straight away, before the egg cooks too much, try to stir in with a ladle as much as you can. You don't want any thick pieces of scrambled egg in your soup. All you want is some silky smooth thin pieces of eggs. And a way to achieve that is just to first drizzle in the egg lightly and straight away stir in the soup vigorously with a ladle. And at this point your soup is pretty much ready. All you have to do is just to adjust for seasoning. So just give it a taste, and mine needs a little bit more pepper and salt. So I'm just adding about a pinch more salt and pepper here. And when you're happy with the flavors and the consistency of the soup, turn off the heat and it's pretty much ready to serve. The only last thing that I would add for this soup is pretty much just spring onion, and it will be perfect. But it's just at the point of time that I'm making this video, I just couldn't find any spring onion around my area. It's pretty weird, but yeah, what can you do? I'll just have to settle for the less amazing version of this soup, but hey, at least you can try to add in spring onion on your own. And so there you have it guys, my take on the traditional Chinese egg drop corn soup.
I hope you liked that simple recipe, and if you did, you can always find the measurements to that recipe down in the description box below, along with the links to my other videos. While you're down there, don't forget to leave this video a thumbs up, and also if you would like to see more of those, don't forget to subscribe and follow me on Instagram and Twitter to get the latest update on my videos. And here are also the links to my previous videos in case you're curious, and if you have any requests, don't hesitate to leave a comment below and I'll get right to it. And yeah, that'll be all for today guys, see you next week, bye!